Hi, my name is Matt DiGeronimo with Smith Floyd Mergers and Acquisitions. This video addresses the business owner who is interested in selling their business and further is interested in working with a professional intermediary, but first wants to explore the handful of opportunities that seem to be more desirable than bringing their business to market and to the attention of a professional intermediary and what I'll call strangers throughout the globe. Those opportunities usually present themselves in the form of a potential buyer or two that you, the business owner, already know. It's very common and also quite understandable. Unfortunately, the natural progression that this follows, not in most cases, but the overwhelming majority of cases. And when I say the overwhelming majority of cases, what I really mean is all cases. What happens is, interacting with these one or two named buyers on your own without a professional intermediary results in a waste of your own time, a degradation of your business operations, and a decline in the eventual business sale to some stranger. I recognize that I could be coming across as a little bit arrogant here, and I only mean it somewhat tongue-in-cheek, and I'm only expressing the fact that this business sale will never go through between you and this individual based solely on the observations of the past. If that's a route that you choose, I wish you all the best of luck, and I truly do hope that you're compensated to a degree that's equivalent to what you've earned in the building of your business. But in every single instance that we at Smith Floyd have seen, the deal doesn't go through. And regardless of how much business experience the individuals involved have, they generally find themselves unequipped to handle the specifics and the subtleties associated with a business sale. A business sale is tricky not just because of the size of the business. That's irrelevant. So for example, a business sale of $100,000 is much more complicated than the sale of a piece of real estate for $1 million. And it's not, so I'm not saying it's because of the numbers that are involved or even the financial complexity of it, but there's an emotional issue that that always pops up that just cannot be properly lassoed by two individuals, especially when those two individuals are the buyer and the seller. So this is what I recommend. If you find yourself in that situation, bring in a professional intermediary to act as just a buffer between you and this prospective buyer. That'll give you a couple things. One, it will bring you that person's and that company and their company's expertise and put it in your corner. For the amount of, for the cost of that type of service, which would be very nominal compared to the size of your business. The peace of mind that having a professional who has seen business sales like yours occur over and over and over again is well worth the cost. So you have an advisor that are there to guide you, and since the business didn't need to be marketed, you can save yourself a significant amount on the transaction fee. The second benefit is that by having a buffer between you and the seller, you can maintain a positive and cordial relationship with that seller regardless of how the business sale goes, because you can use the intermediary as the bad guy of sorts. And that is invaluable when it comes to negotiating the price or the terms of the sale, but more importantly, as the sale date gets closer, there will pop up a handful of things that neither of you had thought about that all of a sudden become a pretty big deal. And having an intermediary who's seen that before to either predict it ahead of time and prevent it from popping up, or to deal with it when it pops up, it will do wonders to maintain the relationship between you and the seller. The other thing that having the intermediary can do for you is it creates a little bit of sense of urgency, and it also adds an element of professionalism to the sale that, regardless of who that buyer is, will impact how they treat you as the seller of the business. When it's just you and the buyer and nobody else, or nobody in between those two parties, the process can lag, and it can go at the pace of the buyer, despite whatever you might say or do. Having an intermediary reminds the buyer that there are other potential buyers out there, and although they may not be in direct competition with someone at this moment, they very well could be at the drop of a hat. So I've stated some of the benefits associated with working with an intermediary, but the questions will still remain: how do you, or what is the best way to sequence working with a buyer or two, either by yourself or with an intermediary, and then also protecting yourself in the case that that deal doesn't go through, which it won't, and preparing yourself for a plan B with an intermediary who is positioned to value and market your business to a larger group of prospective buyers. My recommendation is to do them in parallel. I mentioned earlier that having an intermediary can bring a sense of urgency to your named buyers, but when the business is actively being marketed, that can amplify that effect, where this potential buyer, although they may know they're first in line, they also need to be reminded that there are people inquiring about your business every day, and that your time is valuable, and if they're serious about buying your business, they'll have to move forward at a pace that's consistent with your desires, not theirs. Additionally, it creates it doesn't allow for a lapse in the business operations or business performance between you working with this named buyer and marketing to a larger audience. So what I mean by that is, and this is true especially if you have revealed too much, or you're not working with an intermediary on this, if you reveal too much information to this prospective buyer, especially if they're a competitor or just somebody with loose lips, your business will likely feel some sort of blowback from that. And if we're marketing the business in parallel with that, presence of the intermediary in relation to their role as an advisor can minimize that blowback, but also we haven't allowed for much time to lapse to see the drop in revenue and business performance that may result if word gets out about the sale of your business. My name is Matt DiGeronimo. Thanks for listening.